Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Happy winter solstice. I hope that all your future days are brighter and all that stuff. So next week I'm taking vacation. Not from the show, from work. Well, from my day job. I'll probably work at the side job because I enjoy that. But I'm taking a day job break. Because we've talked about this some, but on January 1, I regain ownership of the software that I've been working on for the last like 8 years, 9 years at this point. This is a piece of software that I developed for educators and to track their education hours and all that sort of stuff. And I developed it at my previous employer. When that previous employer got shut down from legislation shut us down. I purchased the application, source code, all that sort of stuff, copyright, all that. I purchased that from my employer, and then I've sold it to my current employer who has been hosting it for the last 5 years. Well, they don't want to do that anymore, so they're giving it back to me, and which means my users want to keep using it, and so I have to launch it by January 1st as my own thing. So while that's not really a big endeavor, there's a lot I want to do between shutting it down and reopening it, right? Because, so here's the deal. First of all, part of it is I need to find a home for it. I don't really have a home for it yet. I haven't purchased a domain name. I have a few ideas. I'm going to stick with the name of the application because that's what the users are comfortable with. But the good news is, when I built this application, this was a learning tool for me. It was a way for me to learn web development. I hadn't really done much of it up to that point. I had done lots of HTML sites with, opening Notepad and doing HTML, but I hadn't really done any like back-end development, server sides, like database management, all that sort of stuff. So this, I built this website ground up. There's no frameworks involved. There's a couple of little packages. I use Chosen.js for some drop-down selectable type, multi-select type stuff, and I use data tables just to help with tables because I really like data tables. Other than that, it's all just custom PHP, very snappy, very quick, very lightweight. There is nothing. When you open the main page, you get like jQuery and Bootstrap, and that's about it. And you're up and running, and you don't have to download a whole bunch of crap, and there's not anything crazy going on in the back end or on your machine, or nothing. It's just, here's a page, right? Static pages. So it'll probably run just fine on shared hosting. I currently have shared hosting that has about 6 or 7 WordPress sites on it. I can probably host it there just fine for now, which is more than likely what I'm going to do. I will just slap it on there and build it out a little bit more, and then when the time comes, I will move it to a proper VPS. Like my shared hosting, I don't even have SSH access or anything, but I don't need it because really this is just some database tables and some PHP files. Like I don't need to do any, nothing. I don't need to configure anything. Just copy the folder into the root. There you go. It works. So even though, like I just said, it's really lightweight and super portable. I don't have to do any weird htaccess stuff or rewrites or turn any sort of scripting on. It should just use base PHP stuff. I'll have to set up the mail accounts for it to send emails and receive emails, that sort of stuff. Done. Like it'll be hopefully just a couple of hours of total of pulling it down, building the database, and moving it over. And then it'll work. It'll be fine. I think. That's how it worked on my local machine. I set it up on my local machine pretty quickly. Just kind of, it worked. That all being said, I did not want to talk about this for 4 minutes or 5 minutes. I decided that I'm going to do it under a different name than my LLC. So my LLC, the company that owns this show, the company that owns that my contract work is done through, is Chevee Dodd LLC. I just chose a generic name, right? So I don't want this thing to be part of that. So I bought another domain, and I got a DBA for that domain, which is doing business as, and it's coraxial.com. Crow-like, essentially, or raven-like. And I think I talked about this a while back. I decided, since this company isn't really a company, like it is, it's a legit thing, and it's legally a thing, and I have tax papers and bank accounts and an accountant and all that sort of stuff. It's not like it's going to ever be a real company that is, in the public eye. So I thought, I want my company's logo to be a sports team logo. And so a while back, I drew up this Raven logo, and I like it, except that I don't want to. It's almost traced. I found a guy who did a mock-up for Houston Ravens, and I used that to build the logo out, and it's too darn close. And I don't want to steal his work, right? I don't feel comfortable doing that. And so I thought, well, this is a perfect thing to ask AI to do. And so I got signed up with OpenAI's DALL-E, and I asked it to give me some Raven head sports team logos. And it spit out some very interesting things. Very, very interesting logos. But in the end, I found one that I really liked the perspective of it. The logo itself, as you can see, is really incomplete. I don't know what that weirdness, drippy stuff is at the bottom. And when DALL-E likes to stick words in things, it gets really weird. But I used this as a basis. So this was probably like 30 iterations of trying to find something that would be workable, and I settled on this one. There was like in my very first hits, I got one that I was like, I kind of like that, but it just still wasn't quite right. And so I played with that. I asked it to generate more like that. Eventually, I got this thing, and so that's going to be the logo for coraxial.com, which is really just a shell website to hold an email address. It's just a place to just a placeholder, honestly. Like, there's really nothing to go there. Like, here's a website, here's my contact information. That's it. Like, there's nothing there. Like I said, I'm not really going out and trying to build an entire web development business. I'm really just going to maintain this current piece of software and try to find new customers for it. But that might end up being something bigger. Who knows? But for now, I built a static HTML website. There's no PHP, no nothing. It's 3 HTML files, some CSS, and let's go. And I had fun with the AI, though. It was a really interesting experience. So that's all done. Now I just need to figure out what domain I'm going to use for my professional learning software. And once all that's moved over, we can talk about it in the first week of January. And I can be a little bit more open about it because it won't be my day job at that point, and I can tell you all about it. So, what have you been up to? You got anything planned for tonight for the winter solstice? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is palliate. It is a verb meaning to treat a patient so its symptoms abate even though he still has the disease. We introduced Amanda to Roberto in an attempt to palliate the broken heart that Amanda suffered over her breakup with one of the scions of the Chesterfield family. Palliate. P-A-L-L-I-A-T-E. Would that not be like, I think maybe I've heard placate be used more in that. Is that the same thing? I think it is.